Sorry, but I'm gonna spoil a canon event in your life. Eventually, you'll meet someone who's flawed. It could be a friend, it could be a romantic interest, but they're gonna have some issues. And these issues could mean a lot of things. They might be impulsive, cruel, uncaring, anything. But the thing that stays the same no matter what is you're going to have some kind of attachment to them. But those issues I was talking about are going to start to get in the way. They're going to start affecting you too. And, you're close. You don't want to drop them. You want to help them out. You want to, fix their issues. And you're in for a very rude awakening, which is you can't change anyone. For someone to change, they have to want it themselves. Let me tell you a story about how this happened in my life. When I was younger, I want to say 14, 15 years old, I made a friend who was a bit older than me. I was a freshman and she was a senior, and I don't want to put her own personal problems on blast, but she was troubled. She had a lot of things going on, and that gave her some bad habits like abusing substances, wasting money, and finding validation in not great romantic partners. And I kind of have this natural inclination to extend myself to other people, even if it risks my own well-being. And I had a lot of sympathy for her. I saw how rough her situation was, and I just wanted to help in any way that I could. I had friends who felt the same way, and they kind of ended up in the same situation too. What I did not realize I was signing up for was a lot of emotional labor and a good amount of financial sacrifice for someone who honestly didn't value it that much in the end. Now let me explain what I mean by emotional labor. I know some people don't feel this way, but I'm honestly fine with people venting to me. I enjoy being there for people that I'm close with. But I think even people like me can understand the frustration of being there for someone and comforting them and giving them advice only for them to completely ignore it and sometimes even do the opposite. And she did this a lot. It felt like every other day she was in some sort of new crisis of some kind, and I needed to help, but whatever I did wasn't enough. Nobody ever told me that, but I kind of pieced it together by the fact that my help would, in the end, never make any kind of difference. The same mistakes would keep being repeated over and over again. And it's a difficult cycle because if you're like me, that just makes you feel even more sympathetic. But before I get into that, let me talk about the financial sacrifice too. It felt like all the time she was in some kind of situation where she needed money for something, and that would prompt me to help out in that way too. And I don't want to say too much about my own situation, but my funds were a bit more limited, so it would also affect my friends as well. And looking back, I truthfully don't even know if that money was going anywhere. For all I know, it was just going towards more substances. And like I was saying before, that thought honestly, even to this day, does make me feel sympathy for her. But ultimately, I had to realize at some point that my help wasn't helping so much. And eventually, I just pulled back. I wasn't angry, nothing had happened, I had just given up. And unfortunately, that's how 99% of stories about trying to fix someone end. It's like I said before, you need to understand that people can't change unless they want to. There's a reason that the first major step in therapy is admitting that you need therapy. Eventually, you'll have the same realization I did. You'll help them, you'll overextend yourself, you'll do everything that you can to try and fix their situation. But in the end, all you'll be left with is nothing. Nothing changed. What you did didn't mean anything to them or the situation. And once you realize the damage you've done to yourself, you kinda have to pull back. Putting yourself through all that for nothing is awful. But even then, there'll be some people who just don't give up. They want to keep overextending themselves. And at that point, I wish I could say something, but I honestly don't know what to tell you because anything I could tell you, I feel like you already know. And that's why these situations are so dangerous. It's really easy to fall into that cycle of being consistently sympathetic and trying so hard, and you'll keep hurting yourself, and eventually you'll realize what you're doing, but then it's still hard to let go of someone you care about, so you might keep doing it anyways. And there's no easy answer. There's no quick fix. There's no golden ticket. I'll use the analogy of being at the pool. It's kind of one of those things where you just gotta dive headfirst into the deep end. I wish you could slowly get in and test the waters first, but sometimes with situations like these, you have to let people go to figure it out on their own. And if they don't, then the hard answer is they never would have. I understand wanting to try. I understand wanting to help people. I think it's very natural. I think, in fact, that want is in all of us as humans instinctively. But that also makes it really easy to justify hurting yourself for literally no reason, which you never should. But with all that being said, I hope this helped someone, and I hope you have a good day.